Now live on this beautiful Monday evening. Hello, everyone. I hope that you have survived Monday. I sound stuffy because I am, but here we are anyway. Today we're gonna have an amazing episode for you guys. I know there's tons of conversations going around the industry, going around the country, and I have some stats here that I want to share with you guys. Around just stuff that's happening industry wide and that will happen as we move, and what are the opportunities looking like regardless of what happens in our economy. So don't miss out. This is going to be a great episode. Hello, everyone that's been logging in. Hi, Shyster Mister or Shyster Meister. I don't know how to say it, but hi, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. And while my friend Chris Baker logs on, I want to remind everyone that everything that we're going to be discussing today, these are facts. This is no one's opinion, and we some stuff, and then we're going to be sharing some strategies that all of you can use as we move forward into the second quarter of 2025. Hello, Mr. Baker.
What's up, Juliana?
Oh my
My voice is
God,
gonna be
what's
a
up
little
with
messed up.
you?
My voice is gonna be a little bit messed up. It's part of that recession voice.
Oh my God, like I'm all stuffy and sick, and my sinuses are wanting to kill me because you know that like we can see the pollen on the street, like clumps of it. Yeah, it's killing me. So
uh,
I was telling our audience before you logged in that I wanted to cover a few things today, but I want to start specifically with what's going on in the stock market around real estate. There's a few of our competitors and a few of our fellow, friends in the industry are publicly traded companies. And as of this morning, a lot of these companies' stock has suffered, and we all know that the stock market is like whoop. It's kind of sort of like worse than real estate, I guess, to some extent. And I am no expert at it, but I just want to share some stuff. Open Door, the highest of the high that their stock has ever been has been $32.39, and this morning they were at 92 cents. 92
what?
cents this morning. Yeah, I know.
Wow.
Oh, no, wait for it. Fathom Realty, the highest of the highest they've ever been is 56.81. This morning they were at 74 cents. Real Broker, the highest of the highs was $6.75. This morning they were at $3.74. Compass, their highest has been $22.11. Today, $8 per share. EXP, the highest of the highest, has been $90 per share, and today they were at $9.48. Remax, $66.10, the highest. Today, they open at $7.50 per share. Anywhere, $50.33, the highest of the high, like ever, and today they were at $3.26. Zillow, $144.30, was actually the highest of the high. Today they were at $62.18. Redfin, $83.71, the highest of the high. Today, $9.89. And yes, someone mentioned La Rosa Realty, 17 cents. I don't have the data on what was the highest of the high for La Rosa, but today they were at 17 cents. And the reason that I'm bringing this up, guys, is because everyone's looking at this, right? We're having conversations around what is going on in the industry, and it is important that you guys have the right mindset around this, because even if you are at any of our competitors where maybe you woke up today with not so good news around your stocks, you'll be fine. Please hear me. You will be fine. And I need you to focus on the things that you can actually control, which is not the stock market. And the things that you can control are your mindset and your actions. And now I want to pivot and kind of give you some hope. All of us, for all of us in real estate, Chris. Because when we went to Mega Camp last year, Gary spoke about three possible scenarios on recession in 2025. I don't know if you remember that at Mega Camp. And
Yeah, I
the
do.
and the first scenario was, well, maybe there's no recession. And if there's no recession, we're going to see unemployment below 5%. We're going to see that the interest rates are going to be in the sixes. And we're going to see home sales around 4.5 million homes sold in the US. That's like a lot of houses. Like you can take your 10 or your 100, right? From 4.5 million. And that's kind of like sort of where we're at today. I mean, would you agree? Unemployment is below 5%,
Yeah.
right? Interest rates are around 6.
Yep.
Uh, and we're annualizing sales to where we're thinking that if we follow this trend, we're going to end somewhere in the $4.5 million. I'm sorry, million homes sold. But then he also said, what if we have a normal recession? Actually, before we go on the normal recession, can we talk about strategies, Chris? As a top producer in our area, in this market where we are in no recession right now, where unemployment is below 5, meaning people have jobs, right?
Mhm.
Interest rates are in the sixes and houses are selling. What are the strategies that you're implementing today that you can share with the public, one or two, that you're like, this is what you need to do right now to grab
Yeah,
some business?
so I think, um, and and I would say this too, Lillian. Like, it's what I liked about your opening was like all this chaos. We feel like all this chaos has nothing to do with our business and what we're doing in the market, right? Zero, right? Because what goes up must come down, and what goes down might come back up. And you're gonna go back and sell homes. But at the end of the day, there's home buyers that are selling. There's deals to be made, and the idea is that what I really need to do is just really focus on the things that are ultimately help me connect with customers
Absolutely.
and provide perspective to the situation that's happened. Because right now, what's interesting about it as we kind of transition to from uh, a seller's market. We had pretty much a seller's market last year into getting to a balanced market, and it feels like we're trending to a buyer's market. In all facets. If you're in Polk County and you're just selling a lot there, you're in a buyer's market. Okay. I just got a freaking almost a crazy deal like under contract where we were basically right around 25% under market value.
What? I cannot wait to
Yeah,
hear about this at ALC meeting on
yeah,
Wednesday.
yeah. So like there's opportunity out there. You just have to go find it and you have to work with the
Absolutely.
right people. So you don't need to like really focus on all the shiny objects that are out there, and understand that this is also a good time for people to go out and purchase and stuff like that. And so I wouldn't
Absolutely.
like what's interesting. I had an open house this past weekend. We talked about last time when Debbie was on there. We talked about all these like strategies that we use in order to have success in the real estate business, and they're all tried and true.
Yeah.
Talk to your sphere of influence. You know, okay.
Do open
Well, one of the things
houses.
that I've been doing recently is talking to my agent to agent referral business, because guess what, Liliana? No one has stopped moving to Florida.
No.
Would
I
you
know.
believe no
I
one has
I
stopped
believe
moving
it.
to Florida?
I live it on Narcoossee Road every day. I know.
Yeah,
They're all on Narcoossee.
yeah. So people are still moving here, no matter what
Absolutely.
the economy. People are still moving to Florida, and no matter how
Absolutely.
many homes everybody talks about these freaking apartments going up, that means people are moving here. Okay.
Absolutely, people are moving here, and like Kevin Tolbert is online, and he's saying buy land now. Absolutely, buy the land now. That is, oh my God, like yes, please buy all the dirt, buy all the dirt, anywhere around you. And it's important for people to understand that as long as you are in an environment of productivity and accountability, right, that's gonna keep you where you need to be, right? Because we cannot be so focused on all the chaos around the world, right?
Yeah.
Uh, I think as entrepreneurs, one of the things that we have to do the most is protect our mindset, and most people don't have a system for that, right?
Okay.
They're like, or maybe the system is not a healthy system. Maybe we're doing drugs, or maybe we're drinking too much, or maybe
Sure.
we're doing. I mean, that's just the reality of it, right? Uh, so please have be in an environment where accountability and productivity are a thing, so that you can protect your mindset and you can stay focused on the things that you have to stay focused on. And like in any market and throughout these three scenarios, we still have to look for those people that are ready, willing, and able. But specifically right now, the most important one is willing. Oh my
Right.
God, if they are not
Yeah.
willing to pull
Yeah.
the trigger on a purchase or a sale of a home, they're not motivated enough, and you're gonna be running around in circles, and you're gonna be beating yourself against the wall like, but what is going on, right? Because people are gonna make the decisions when life happens, and when it's right for them. And our
Yeah.
job, like Neil was saying earlier in the comments, build that pipeline and stack it up. You still need to eat in August. Just because people don't need to transact today doesn't mean that they're a bad lead. Please stop saying that. They're not
Yeah.
leads, they're people with needs and lives. And we cannot be this cold as an industry,
Yeah.
right? And I want to bring scenario number two of 2025, which would be kind of like a normal recession. And in a normal recession, we would see unemployment higher, somewhere
Mhm.
between 6 and 8%. And I need you to understand that when people lose jobs, stuff happens, guys, right? I mean, life is not fun when people are losing jobs. So as you're talking to people and understanding where people are in their life, like don't be like transactional, like be a human being. How can you help, right? Because maybe selling the house is not the right thing
Right.
for them to do in the moment. We're also going to see that interest rates, if there is some type of normal recession, would fall a little. And we may see them in the fives, it's somewhere in the fives and very, very low sixes. So it's not, they're not going to change drastically from where they are today, but we may see some 5%. And home sales are going to go up. We're going to see around 5 million home sales if we are in a normal recession. And I'm going to read here the little blurb that Gary gave us on this. He said, historically, falling home sales lead us into recession and rising sales lead us out. And after 3 years of declines, the transition into a recession would trigger a more aggressive drop in rates from the Federal Reserve and stimulate the housing market to drive the growth of an economic recovery. Remember that the housing industry, it's one of the levers, right, that the Fed can pull to fix the things. Now, in this type of market, in a normal recession, let's say we head into a normal recession in 2025. What is the conversation that I'm having with my client, Chris?
No, I think it's one is one you the conversations having around like what the motivation is and why they wanted to purchase and really focusing on those aspects of it. And then the other conversation is, and I see this a lot right now, like with higher inventory, especially if you're working with sellers, right? Sellers is that you have to be really educational about the pricing of the home and how important it is, because it's
Yes.
it's so important. And Liliana, like I just had a couple listings that I put on the market. Both of them went under contract within 4 days. Okay.
Because they were priced
um,
right
yeah, they were priced right, right, and
and
like
not in
other
Poinciana.
homes have been and other homes have been sitting,
Yeah.
and one of the other interesting pieces of it is that we talk about this, and this is we underestimate how much of a beauty contest we are in when inventory increases. Because what happens, and I was just doing an open house over the weekend, and the home was fairly priced right, looked, had some really nice touches, but it had a couple little things. And literally, home buyer after home buyer that came into the open house commented on they're going to sell this home at this. Why didn't they get the house ready?
Oh my, I just had this conversation with one of our ALC members today. She had an open house yesterday or Saturday, and it was like this beautiful home, yada yada. And I'm like, how did the open house go? And she's like, everyone said it's too much money for all the work that I have to put into it. We are in the beauty contest of a market, and it is absolutely essential that we are brutally honest with sellers in this market and any market, right? But we have to be brutally honest with the sellers. This is not the time when we're sitting, hi, honey, when we're sitting in front of our sellers, just telling them what they want to hear, because
Correct.
you are shooting yourself in the foot and you're not doing them any favors at all either.
Not at all. Not
You're
at all.
disappointing everyone in the transaction, yourself, your client, and it's going to be a very massive hill that you're going to have to climb up.
Yeah, and when there's so many options, and this is the piece that I don't think a lot of people are getting, is that there's so many more options out there. Not only when you're pricing a home, not only you have to look at just the neighborhood, but you have to look at the surrounding area of what a home buyer would also be looking at in that same price range and seeing, are you racked and stacked against the competition in the area as well? This is super important. Does it have the right curb appeal in the home? Is the home tidy when you walk inside of it? Have they done what they need to do to make sure it's showable? People are walking into stage homes and new construction homes. Does the home rack and stack compare to new construction homes? And not to say a resale home has to look like a new construction home, but it has to feel like there's some value that's associated with if there's a difference in that. And that's so
Absolutely.
critical right now. So the conversations that I'm having with customers is getting to reality and understanding our market is different from what it was a couple years ago. And these are the facts that kind of associated with this. And this is what I'm seeing in the marketplace and being able to share that with customers.
Absolutely. And if we were to go to a space where unemployment gets higher and people are losing jobs, I need you to be super careful with the conversations that you're having with your consumer because you just became their teacher. You are their guide. Don't be telling anyone, oh, all you got to do is sell the house and you'll be fine. That may not be the right choice for everyone. Sit down, have your consultation, ask all the proper questions and work hard to do what's right for that family because it is not fun and games when we're in front of people that are losing jobs. And we also know that when unemployment is high, the next rate that goes a little higher than normal is divorce because one of the main causes of divorce is financial issues,
Yeah.
right? So just be mindful that you're working with human beings and it's not just, ka-ching, ka-ching, commission check, commission check. No. I mean, you wouldn't want to be treated like that, right? And so don't treat your people like that either. So it's important that you guide them, that you if they have equity in their home, then maybe that is the way to go, right? We're oh my God, I don't know how many conversations I've had in the last 7 days, Chris, with agents coming with listings that are underwater.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we have to list the house, but they're not gonna make any money out of it, right? And we're getting very creative around how are we helping the sellers.
Yeah, and
And
there's a lot of different not a lot of different options, but we need to be more
there's
creative.
options.
Like
Yeah,
there's
absolutely.
options out there. There's ways that people can do some things assumable. I'm actually in the process of doing assumable mortgage right now on a home, and so like there's a lot of different ways that you just have to be creative, and maybe there's some options where maybe you have to, like I was just telling someone, like someone wants to move, right, but their home underwater. Maybe there might be some time where you have to get them into maybe renting that home for a little bit to maybe make up the
Correct.
difference. That's time frame. You have to look at, like, what I appreciate you saying a lot, Liliana, is that you have to look at your customers as human beings, right? And we're here as advisors for their situation, not just to collect a commission check, unless you want to be transactional. Okay, I mean, like
Yeah.
if that's your gig, hopefully you're not. But if you want to help customers through real estate, you have to know when the best time is to buy and give them great advice when it's time to that. And there might be times where you can say, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
you might
absolutely.
just have to wait a little bit of time for you to make this difference up. And then we can come up with a different plan, no matter what the hardship is. And on the other side of this, I think we've gotten too comfortable with someone purchasing and being able to sell in a year or two. That
Yeah,
is
we're not
that
there anymore. We haven't
we're
been there
not
for
there
a few
anymore.
years.
We had some great years where this was possible,
Yeah.
okay? Great years,
Yeah.
okay? We're not there anymore. We're in a year where, like, okay, if I'm okay, is this a 5 year plan for you? Like, are you going to be in a home for at least 4 or 5 years? Not, oh, well, I want to be able to do something next year. Okay, next year might be you have to rent the property
Yeah.
until you
Yeah.
get to the place that you feel like it's good. Or
Absolutely.
do
And
it.
Another opportunity that I want to bring out, if we were to go into a normal recession, is the falling of the interest rates, right? Because that's going to be one of the first things that the Fed is going to do. They're going to pull that lever like crazy, like
Yeah.
immediately. And my question to all of you listening is, do you know who has told you I'm going to wait until the interest rates go to the fives to buy a house? Do you know who those people are in your database? Because you need to start talking to these people. Because if there's, I have people putting buyers in new construction in the fives. I have people putting buyers in new
Yeah.
constructions in 2.99 and rates. And it's still completely feasible. Like they go from 299 to the three to the four. I mean, it's not a big jump, right? So who are the buyers in your database that have told you I'm going to wait until the interest rates are in the fives? Because we may be there in some communities, and if a normal recession happens, we will all be there.
Yeah.
And you need to start having this conversation. The topic that we're covering today is an amazing little email or video to send to your database. Send them the 3 slides. If you're with KW, you have the 3 slides from MegaCamp. If you don't have them and you want them, just DM us and we'll be happy to email them to you. This is a topic of conversation that you need to be having with your people. And that third scenario is going to be the banking recession. Now, in this scenario, and I'm going to read it exactly like it is defined, right? Something damages the banking system, creating a shock to lending. Home prices and home sales will fall despite low mortgage rates, and this is what happened in the Great Recession in '08. This is exactly what happened in. Hi, Jenny Wimmer. I don't think I've ever met you in person, but thank you for being. And what we're going to see is unemployment is going to go between 8 and 10%. So we're going to have more people unemployed. And that's going to be a sad situation that may create some opportunities for your people. But like we were talking earlier, sit down, consult your homeowners properly, and make sure that the right thing for them is selling the house or not selling the house. All right. Remember, financial uncertainty brings a ton of anxiety and stress to consumers, to us. I mean, we are consumers at the end of the day as well. So don't take that under, don't take it for granted. Interest rates are going to fall if there's a banking recession between 3 to 4%. So this is an amazing opportunity for those buyers, right? That keep saying, "Hey, I'm gonna wait, I'm gonna wait, I'm gonna wait." And
Yeah.
well, if we go into a banking recession, and now you know what to watch for, right? Watch for that unemployment. The unemployment rate will be between 8 and 10%, and interest rates will be between the threes and the fours in a bank during a banking recession. So as we're watching unemployment month by month, and we talk about this every month at team meeting in our office, right? These are the signs that we're going to see creeping up or not, or whatever. But this is the importance of why we have to watch it.
Yeah, let's pray that like that doesn't happen. And honestly, if it did happen, it would be historic because it
Yeah,
would be within what basically
20 years.
15 years that we had to that would be historic.
Yeah,
So let's pray that like that doesn't happen. And and I will say I feel a little doubtful that that will happen again. But
yeah. I think I mean, I'm
so
no
pray.
expert in the economy, so I'm not going to usher opinions around what
Yeah,
will
I know.
happen or not happen. And these are the three scenarios. We are either in
I'm
no
recorded. I'm
recession.
recorded as saying it's not going to happen, Liliana. I'm going to
I
be
love it.
the real
You
estate
you
optimist
bet
in
you
Central
bet on it.
Florida, and say I'm not going to do this doom and gloom. I see some of that stuff
Well,
on like YouTube and
absolutely.
saying all this stuff is like
No.
everybody's doom and gloom. No one's moving in Florida. It's all garbage right now.
But you know
So
what? That's important. That's exactly the reason why I thought this was a conversation for today, right? Because there's three scenarios. There's gonna be opportunities in all scenarios, and we can never forget that Florida outpaces the country in
yeah,
every metric, in unemployment, in GDP, in inflation, and in home values. We outpace the country all day long, every day in all those metrics. So it's super important that you have the national perspective and then bring it down to local perspective, because the issue is that our consumers are listening to the national news, right? And the CNNs and the MSNBCs or the Foxes of the world or whatever the channels are, they're not giving you specific Florida or specific Lake Nona information, right? They're
Yeah.
talking about boom general terms. So it's super important that you understand the perspective because at the end of the day, that is our job. Our job is to give our client perspective
Perspective.
so that then they can make the decision that they have to make for the good of their family at the
And
end of the
so
day.
one of the things I think is important if you're a member of Aura, and I'll do my Aura shout out because
Whoop,
I think we're a
whoop.
great board. But every Monday they come up with a Monday morning quarterback, and it goes through the stats of the past week. And so you can actually download this data and go through the market pulse and have an idea. As real estate professionals, we need to be the local economists of choice when associated with real estate for our consumers. Okay,
100%.
not like the national news, like Lillian was saying. It needs to be you that's relaying information. And so and what's amazing about being a part of Stellar MLS, there's so much great data that you can download based on monthly supply, what the rates are,
100%.
what inventory is doing, what consumers are getting for their property, what the loan, the sales, the list ratios are for any area that you want to do. So it has a stats, that stats button. Liliana, you showed this to us in a team meeting one day, and I tell you, hey, you know how I got that? I got that 25% below market
Make
value is I
mama
use
proud.
that stat. I use that stat thing and put out some reports, sent that over to me. Hey, I said, do you want to risk it? You want to?
Yeah. I mean,
I got a good offer for you. I got a good offer for you. And they're
I love
like,
that.
the agent freaking called me and said, you just got your freaking customers a great deal. I love it.
And you're
I
like,
love
you're welcome. Let's get to the closing
it.
table.
Yeah.
Right? But that it's so important that it's important to understand the numbers and to understand what the numbers are saying. Numbers don't lie, people lie. Okay, let's be real.
Yeah.
Numbers don't lie, people lie. And again, to all of our people that are listening, I know that I started with some stats that were not very positive for our competitors. And please understand that you, as a real estate agent, you will be fine.
Yeah.
You
Don't worry
just need
about
to
those freaking
focus.
stock
Yeah,
numbers.
don't. You just need to focus on the things that you can control, which is your mindset and your actions, and be in an environment of productivity and accountability that's going to help you understand these things so that you can give your people perspective, right? And get to your goals. Because after all, someone has to sell a damn house.
You just got to go talk to more people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Anything else, Chris? Close us up.
No, I just say you said it enough. You said it the right things. So that you just need to go out there and talk to enough people, make relationships with your customers, find out what their goals are for the future, and then just be the person that makes it happen for them.
Absolutely. And if you want those slides, all of yours, if you're one of my agents, all of those slides for the recessions options, they need to be in your listing presentations and in your buyer presentations. If you don't have the slides because you're a guest on our show, just DM me and I will be happy to send you the slides as well. Let's have a great night. Let's go win this week, guys. It is up to you. After all, it's your choice, fear or faith. You choose. Let's have a good one.